Good morning, children. Let's move on to the second part of graph reading. In the previous session, we had gone through various types of graphs like line graph, then joint bar graph. We had done the population pyramid, etc. Now, here too, in the second part, we'll be dealing with all these in detail. Now, let's come to the types of graphs. Now, there are various types of graphs that we have already done. Here, we'll be doing two more, okay? That is a pie diagram and the divided rectangle, okay? Apart from the histogram, bar graph and line graph. Now, what is a line graph? It shows how the numbers have changed over time. Next one is bar graph. It shows numbers that are independent of each other. In bar graph, each rectangular bar has length proportional to the values they represent. Okay, children? I think you would have understood. Now, the length of the rectangular bar is equal to the values, okay, that they represent. Next is histogram. I think you remember the previous session we had done histogram where we had discussed about the temperature and rainfall graph of Kolkata. Okay, now what is a histogram? It provides a visual interpretation of numerical data by indicating the number of data points that lie within the range of values. The range of values are called classes. The next one is pie diagram. It is a circular statistical graph which is divided into parts to illustrate numerical portion. Okay, so pie diagram is a statistical graph. Okay, and here you can divide it into various parts. Okay, and the length of the arc is proportional to the quantity that it represents. The next one is divided rectangle. Divided rectangle is also called divided bar graph and is a rectangle divided into smaller rectangles along its length in proportion to the data. Now here we have some more examples of line graph. Okay, I think in the previous session, we had already gone through some of the examples of line graph. Here are some more, and I think with these you'll be able to do your graph well. Okay, now let us come to this graph here. Now here this is a line graph. On the x-axis we find months are given. Okay, so from January, February, March, April up to December, and on the y-axis we have average temperature in degrees. Okay, now the scale is equal to 1 centimeter is equal to 10 degrees. Okay, so we have on the y-axis temperature is given and 1 centimeter is equal to 10 degrees, which means you have to write the temperature at regular intervals. Okay, so if this is the first one, 1 centimeter is 10, the next 1 centimeter will be equal to 20 and the next will be equal to 30 and so on. Okay, now let's come to the question. In which month do you find maximum temperature? Maximum temperature means if you look at the line graph, you'll have to see where you have the highest temperature. So highest temperature is here. So this is in the month of May. Okay, so the highest temperature is in the month of May. So May has recorded the maximum temperature. Is that clear? Now, next one. what is the temperature in the month of August? So find out where August is, and straight away, you know, you draw a line parallel to the y-axis, and then if you produce it, okay, to meet the y-axis, you find, okay, it is more than 30, so it comes to 33 degrees. So temperature in the month of August is 33 degrees. The third question, in which month do you find lowest temperature? Okay, now look at the line graph. It's very clear. You have the lowest temperature in the month of January. So I think this is clear. Let's move on. Now, let's come to the next one. Here again, this is a line graph. On the x-axis again, we find years are given. So you have years from 1901 to 2011. And on the y-axis, we have population in millions. Okay, so this is the population of India, okay, graph for the year 1911 to 2011. Okay, let's come to the questions now. What was the population of India in 1911? Okay, so we have 1911 here. Okay, so this is 200 and 400 in between. Okay, you have 300 here, is less than 300. So we can say this is 240. So population of India in the year 1911 is 240 million. The next one, in which year was the population the lowest? Okay, the lowest population you can find, okay, here is in the year 1911. Okay, so in 1911, the population of India was the lowest. The third one, during which decade did the population cross 500 million? Okay, now you're going over, okay, find out where 500 million is. This is 400, this is 6. So in between we have 500. Take it up, okay, see where it crosses your line graph, okay. So we have it between 1961 and 1971, okay, that decade. Okay, so during which decade did the population cross 500 million? It is between 1961 to 1971. Okay, so in the decade between 1961 to 1971, the population crossed 500 million. Come to the next one. After which year has the population increased rapidly? When you look at the line graph, you find there has been an increase in population, that also a drastic increase. Okay, yeah, it has started rising from 19, right from 1921, there has been a steady increase, and drastic increase has been seen from 1961. So from the year 1961, we find the population has increased rapidly. The next graph. Can you tell me what this graph is? Yes, this is a bar graph. Okay, and as I said, the length of the bar graph is proportional to the quantity that it represents. All right. Okay, this is the length of the bar here. Okay, so what does this graph show? This is a bar graph, and it shows the production of iron and steel in lakh tons. Okay, now on the x-axis we have the years marked, and on the y-axis we have production of iron and steel in lakh tons. And what about the scale? Now, 1 centimeter is equal to 50 lakh tons. Okay, see that the scale is regular. Now you'll have to mark it as 50. And so if 1 centimeter is equal to 50, the next will be 100. Okay, see that your scale is regular. Okay, now come to the question. In which year was the production of iron and steel the maximum? Okay, very, very clear. If you look at the bar with the highest quantity, which is this? For which year? It is 2004, 2005. Okay, so in the year 2004, 2005, the production of iron and steel was the maximum. And how much is it? It is, so this is 350. It is slightly more than 350. So it is 355, okay, lakh tons. You'll have to write the units also, okay. Just don't write 355. Write it as 355 lakh tons. The next one. In which year was the production 300 lakh tons? Okay. So this is 300. Very, very simple. Okay. So which year is that? This is the year 2002 to 2003. So in the year 2002 to 2003, the production of iron and steel was 300 lakh tons. The next one. What was the production in the year 2000 to 2001? So this is 2000 to 2001. We have 250. This is more than 250. So what is it? It is 255. So in the year 2000, 2001, the production of iron and steel was 255 lakh tons. The next one, during which year was there a great rise in production? Okay, so you look at the graph here. Now, from which year has there been an increase? So, in the year 2003, 2004, after this, there has been a marked increase. Okay, so the year or the period from 2003 2004 to 2004 2005, there has been a great rise in production of iron and steel. Next one. Okay, now here you have on the x-axis production in percentage. This shows the production of various agricultural crops. Okay, now here each 1 centimeter is equal to 10%. So we have till 100, okay, on the x-axis. Okay, now so scale is equal to 1 centimeter is 10%, and you can find various crops here. Okay, the percentage of which is also written. All right, now what do you call this diagram? This is a divided rectangular graph. Okay, here you find, now the questions that I have given here are straight, you can see directly. All right, now you just have to read it. So tell me, what is the production of rice? Okay, the production of rice is 43%. Okay, they are, you can find, you can see that they are all direct questions. All right, so which crop, if you look at that, you find the highest production. Okay, which crop shows the highest production? It is rice. And how much is it? It is 43%. The next one is, which crop shows 8% production? Okay, so which crop shows 8%? It is pulses. Okay, now next one, production of which crop is about 20%? Now come to where, just see where, which crop is 20%? It is coarse cereals. So production of coarse cereals is about 20%. Now, can you see? I think you'll be able to make out what this graph is. Now, we call this as a pie diagram. Okay. Now, here you can see various colors used here. All these colors tell you about the various sectors and how much of electricity is consumed by each of these sectors. Okay. Now, just go through that, and I think it is very, very clear. Okay. You can answer these questions. So, which sector makes use of highest percentage of electricity? Okay, looking at the color, you'll have it along the index. Along the index, you find the various sectors. Okay, so factories. Okay, so you have farming, residential sector, commercial, and others. So all these make use of electricity. Okay, and the amount consumed by each of them is different. Okay, so the highest percentage of electricity is consumed by, okay, what is this? This is factories. So factories consume the highest percentage of electricity. Next one. What percentage of electricity is used for farming? Okay, farming. So look at this is farming. Correlate that with the, okay, symbols used here. So this is 24. So farming consumes 24% of electricity. The next one. Which two sectors make use of 8% of electricity? Okay, correlate that with the index shown. Okay, this is commercial and this one comes to other. So your answer is commercial sector and other sectors consume 8% of electricity. Next one, how much more percent of electricity is used by factories than by farms? Okay, first find out how much factories consume. Factories consume 35%. And how much do farms consume? Farms consume about 24%. Okay, so 35 minus 24 gives you 11%. So factories consume 11% more of electricity than farms. Okay, children? Now, I think these examples are sufficient for you. I think you would have understood how to read graphs. Okay? Now, in the following subsequent lessons, we'll come across these graphs. Okay? And it will be easy for you to understand. Okay? Now, there is also now some more assignments I have given. Just go through it and answer them. Thank you, children.